I think it is a responsibility of this program as probably the most sincere and prominent soda advocates in the U.S. media to bring up this story to kick things off this week. Headline, Wall Street Journal, Dr. Pepper ties Pepsi as America's number 2 soda.
Peppers, boating peppers, toting peppers, cooking peppers, good-looking peppers. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too?
Let's fucking go. Felix and Alex, are you happy about this? Are you fans of Dr. Pepper? And are you glad that the cursed inferior cola Pepsi is finally becoming number 3 rather than number 2?
I won't shit on Pepsi. Pepsi's fine, but Dr. Pepper deserves it, especially after Strawberries and Cream. Strawberries and Cream Zero.
It's good stuff.
Knock it out of the park hit. 10 out of 10.
I've never really been a Pepsi hater. You know, I think people who hate Pepsi, I don't
Are
get
racist.
It. Yeah, that's kind of it.
It's because they had an ad with Michael Jackson in it.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people, the infamous Ku Klux Klan, and all of them, to a man, hated Pepsi. You know what? Pepsi is a great pairing with a lot of classic foods.
KKK members, they hate Pepsi so much they call all soda Coke.
Yeah.
It says here, there's a new contender in the cola wars, and it isn't a cola, it's Dr. Pepper. The 139-year-old soda brand is now tied with Pepsi Cola as the number 2 carbonated soft drink brand in America behind Coke. The regular version of Pepsi and Dr. Pepper are neck and neck in a spot that Pepsi has held for nearly every year for the past 4 decades, according to sales volume data from Beverage Digest.
This is more a reflection on Dr. Pepper's quality than Pepsi's lack thereof. I mean, Dr. Pepper is amazing, though I will take an outside track. I think Mr. Pibb was better.
Really?
Yeah. Mr.
Well, what
Pibb
happened?
Okay, I don't know. What happened to John Kerry in 2004, the best candidate ever, who still lost to a fucking monkey who invaded Iraq for bananas?
Well, we just got more of John Kerry. He got to work in the White House. He was in the cabinet.
We got more John Kerry like 8 years later. In soda years, that's like 100 years. Maybe in the future, like by the time
100 years is one soda year. So Dr. Pepper has been around for about 1.5 years. It's like a toddler in soda years.
Yeah, it's barely changed in that fucking time.
Wow. Imagine what like a 40-year-old soda in soda years would be like.
You'd be a pedophile.
Oh, that would be fucked up. I wouldn't want that.
That's what happened to Mr. Pibb.
Oh, that's why they got rid of him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of John Kerry, I mean, he's married to Teresa Heinz Kerry, the number 1 ketchup brand in America. And I'll say it, I think Pepsi is inferior to Coke, and I think Hunt's Catsup is disgusting slop that should be removed from all stores in America to make way for Heinz dominance. See, I don't care. You can call me racist. This is an unwoke podcast. I don't care. Pepsi sucks. Hunt's Ketchup sucks. Burger King sucks. All the number 2s, they got to go. I think you can only be number 2 for like a couple decades before the state just repossesses your company and turns it into, I don't know, a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Betamax or HD DVD.
Yeah.
You don't see those anymore.
Betamax was better, but Hunt's Catsup is actually, it's the anti-woke choice. If you were woke in 2004, we didn't have that term yet, but you know, you were buying Heinz ketchup to support John Kerry.
Yeah, all the crunchy granola moms, they didn't like it because they wanted it to say Gathers.
Yeah.
I don't like Hunts. I'm anti-gun. I don't like that.
At the time, I always wondered if Hunt's Ketchup, if it was the same Hunt as HL Hunt.
Yes.
So like Texas Oil Man.
Absolutely. They struck ketchup. There was one well and it shot up ketchup and they had to sell it.
I like the idea of this like racist guy who helped kill Kennedy being like, we're gonna take down the Democrats by starting our own ketchup.
Every time you consume Heinz ketchup, you were supporting the Democratic Party, and you were supporting the illegal prosecution of Donald J. Trump, which I suppose we should get into that. It's for a further fallout from Trump's conviction. And I guess like the only thing that I really have to say about this is that it's produced some very funny reactions from everyone who's been talking about what a threat Donald Trump is to democracy, because I'm thinking specifically of our good friend Jonathan Chait, who writes that, the headline here, Trump's conviction, the case for a misgiving, forbearance versus the rule of law. And he writes, almost 4 years ago, anticipating the flood of legal troubles that would await Donald Trump after he left office, I wrote a feature story for the magazine that wrestled with the dilemma of prosecuting a former president. In assessing the merits of the criminal case against Trump, I never thought the Manhattan prosecution cleared the bar. The case isn't legitimate. It is simply, in my opinion, too marginal a violation to be balanced against the social and political costs it raises. So to that, I say, Jonathan, you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And I guess I'm just astonished by these people, like their inability to enjoy their own fantasies, like saying that, like, oh, I want Donald Trump put in prison, or I want him locked up, or I want him prosecuted, and then he is prosecuted and convicted of 34 felonies, and you're like, no, not like that. It's like the equivalent of having a dream where you can fly and you're flying to Pussy Mountain. Now, in the dream logic, Pussy Mountain,
it's blurred out like in Japan.
That's why you need your flight instruments.
In my dream logic here, Pussy Mountain is the place that awaits you where every crush you've ever had is just begging to have sex with you. So, like, you have a dream where you're flying to Pussy Mountain and you're like, no thanks, I'd rather walk. It's more appropriate. And I guess I just like to contrast that with, God bless them, the wine moms and resistance dads who are having a fucking, this is like VJ day for them. They're all doing the Peter Fonda style quotes about what they hope awaits Donald Trump in prison.
Jeff Tiedrick, I heard that he got Rihanna pregnant this week.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was through the air. They weren't even in the same room. She just got it tested and it was his baby. It was crazy. Yeah, it's weird how they don't hold any other DAs to that standard. Like, people run on that shit all the time. Like, we're gonna round up the criminals, and then everybody cheers. We're gonna start prosecuting more drug dealers and drug addicts and homeless people, and people just get elected off that. They say we're gonna lock up all these poor people, and we're gonna just be cruel to them for your enjoyment, and that's why you should vote for me. That's just how it works. But when they do it with Donald Trump, it's a breach of norms.
Well, you know, and like I think like
it's too popular to prosecute him for this crime that he did. It's too much red meat. We shouldn't do it because people want him to get in trouble so bad, so we shouldn't do it.
Well, that's what he means about like the social and political fallout. He's like, oh, this might make our opponents, the people who I hate, they might make them too angry in time for the election. And
they might threaten to like put Democrats in jail, which like they've never done before, and it would be really bad if they actually did that.
Yeah, just like, it would really suck if they put like Bob Menendez and Henry Cuellar.
Yeah.
Well, all those shitheads, all the easy guys you could go after. It would suck if they went after them.
What if they went after Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, though? Two people who have never committed crimes. Yeah, what if they went after Nancy?
Hunter?
Yeah, he's going to prison.
That's the funny thing. They say, like, what about Hunter? Why wouldn't they prosecute Hunter? They are. You scroll down in the news. It's right there.
He's facing a federal gun charge, and like Trump's falsifying business felonies. I think like the people are right to say that, like, were they not the president's son and the president, they probably never would be prosecuted for this. But that comes with the territory. I mean, they are still felonies. Like, so if you don't like, I mean, when you become president, you are under a bit more of a microscope, including the felonies you may have done in the past.
Yeah. Same thing with celebrities. Before he was president too. If he did some high profile crime, the DA and the news and everybody would give him special treatment. They would go after him a little more because he's famous. Like when a celebrity gets pulled over for a DUI, like Paul Pelosi.
Yeah.
If he wasn't that guy, no one would ever know about it.
I guess I'm just like, because like, obviously, like, I think like they've been leaning very heavily on how this might affect the public perception of Trump. Like, will people vote for a convicted felon? But I got to say, I have been astonished at how like little I've heard from anyone in the Democratic Party that's like touting this. It seems like they're all embarrassed by it, or they don't want to talk about it, or they just think that the news will be enough. Like, where's the big press conference about our convicted felon ex-president?
I think they want to seem impartial.
I think they psych themselves.
They're running in a presidential election against this guy. You can't be impartial when you're trying to defeat him.
They don't want to make the prosecution look too partisan by cheering, like doing a touchdown dance while it's going on, I think, is their thinking.
I think it's kind of like they didn't really expect for this to be the case that won. It was kind of the weakest case, and it was the one that the least amount of people gave a shit about. And it is like if you're a Democrat, this is unambiguously good for Biden's reelection chances, right? Like everyone likes pointing out that his base will vote for him no matter what. Well, I mean, you need more than that for a presidential election. I think they've kind of like they've psyched themselves out into they've sort of convinced themselves that it just doesn't mean anything after so many years of this, and they're instead focusing on like better things like Biden signing Trump's entire border policy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you'd think the week of where like the Manhattan DA delivered to them probably like since the Dobbs decision, like the best thing that could possibly happen for the Democrats in this election cycle is 34 felony convictions for Donald Trump. And instead, he has a press conference about reminding everyone about some deal to be made for hostages in Israel. Which, like, oh yeah, way to put the focus back on a real winning issue for Biden, and then coming out with, as Biden's wins describes it, another win for Biden. Biden will sign an executive order that will allow the U.S. government to deny asylum and deport immigrants who cross the border illegally. Reminder: Republicans voted against the toughest border security legislation in decades.
Yeah, the entire thing with the border security package has been kind of fucking baffling. I mean, you always eventually see Democrats tack hard to the right on immigration, but usually it isn't like, 3 years removed or 4 years removed from like Biden cutting ads specifically against this type of thing. I mean, it just like, do you think people won't remember?
Well, I mean, I guess like they have polling that shows that immigration is like on in the forefront of voters' minds. So like he's just going to give them the Stephen Miller immigration policy, and then like he's going to be like, oh, I mean, like this is the thing they love to do, where they introduce Republican legislation, and then like when the Republicans won't vote for it, they're like, see, they don't want to govern bipartisanly, but like it's just like they're doing their job for them. On the other side, though, I have been enjoying a lot of the reactions from the Trump's fan base, who are really salty about this, all these convictions. And Alex, I was thinking of you because my favorite genre of like sort of aggrieved reaction to this verdict is the people who are holding out hope that Barron will become Augustus Caesar and end democracy in America because of what was done to his dad.
Those people are so strange. And also, the Caesar metaphors are all jumbled up because they say the Democrats are crossing the Rubicon. They say that every 2 minutes. But then also, Trump is Caesar. So who's Caesar?
I first saw them say like the Rubicon was being crossed during like those weird Trump era hearings where they would make like the 78th most important person in the FBI testify that they like sent a Jonathan Chait column to their wife from an FBI computer. They'd be like, look, we got him. The FBI admitted that they tried to kill Trump. The Rubicon has been crossed. There have been 8,000 Rubicon crossings since then.
Yeah, it's like the Golden Gate Bridge. It's very busy.
It's not that big a river. It's pretty small. But
yeah, it is funny. It is funny. People skipping over Don Jr. and Erik, who are the age where they would be like the next president if they were competent at all. They're just skipping over them to the son who's nonverbal.
Yeah,
because he's really tall.
Skipping over them for someone who we've never heard utter a single word. We have no proof that he has the gift of speech. Zero.
And also, like, if you're holding out hope that Barron Trump will be Augustus Caesar, like, look at his other two adult sons. Like, what indication would they give you that he that being
and
Donald
they had
Trump's
a smarter mom.
yeah.
Melania is probably his dumbest wife. So just really making it worse and worse.
Yeah, Melania is the only one who signed like, I don't know, I guess the contract that you sign with like a stud horse. She's been unable to get out of this thing.
And she signed it with an X.
Well, they don't. That's the only letter they have in Slovenia.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But to the Barron Trump supporters, I have an article here from the Daily Caller in their opinion section. This is like, again, they're really not trying very hard because this article is 3 paragraphs long. I mean, you think they could squeeze a little more juice out of this, but it's by a guy who I swear to God, I think his name must be a pseudonym. Like, I have a hard time believing this is his real name. The headline is, Youngest Trump just found his Batman origin story. And the author of this article is a guy named Gage Clipper. I like I said, I think this has to be a pseudonym of some kind.
He has to be an electrician, right? It's Gage, like the name.
Yeah, Gage.
All right, it's not Gauge, like he's clipping wire to do a wiring. Okay,
refers to the those awful earrings people get.
Oh, those two.
Yeah, but this is what Gage Clipper has to say. Batman has a lot of daddy issues. That's how this article begins. Batman has a lot of daddy issues. His father was a good man who worked to clean up Gotham, only to get gunned down by the very people he tried to help. Bruce Wayne dedicated his life to finishing his father's mission, albeit in an unorthodox fashion. After the disgraceful verdict in the Bragg trial against his father, let's hope Barron Trump channels his righteous fury in a healthier way. But his tactics might just have to be
capable of fury.
Well, maybe he'll inherit his mom's anger at his father. But his tactics might just have to be but his tactics might have to be just as unorthodox. And then it says, there are a lot of similarities between Bruce and Barron. Both grew up privileged with rich and powerful fathers. They've seen what a corrupt system can do to a good man. And both stood by as their fathers were torn apart for daring to strive for better. And whether it's an armored tank that runs on jet fuel or Barron's hulking 6'7" stature, they're both absolute units. Okay, two things I got to say about this.
Pause.
You cannot be described as hulking, even if you are 6'7", when you also weigh 140 pounds.
Also, your dad is supposed to be dead, right? That's the whole thing of Batman. Your parents are dead. Yeah, that's why you have daddy issues, because your dad is dead, not because they were mean to him on the TV.
That was not a thing.
That's not what happened with Batman.
They were not like, Thomas Wayne, you have to stand trial at 4 really boring trials. You have to go on house arrest at age 87. Oh my God, this is crazy. I have to go learn martial arts in the Gobi Desert because of how
he had to watch his dad go back to New York and have fun with all his old friends, like Chuck Zito.
It says here,
Curtis Sliwa.
And I'm sorry, they said they're both absolute units. No, Barron is not an absolute unit. He's just tall.
And also, Batman is a unit. Like,
yeah,
a bunch of different actors have played Batman, and not all of them are like. Would you call Ben Affleck a unit?
I'd call him more of a unit than fucking Barron Trump is.
He's not like a stick thin guy, but I don't. He's not Jason Momoa.
He says, no, the final paragraph is, can you imagine the fury Barron must be feeling? He was there. He watched the trial unfold, and unlike when Trump first took office, he's now old enough to understand. Becoming a brawling vigilante might not be the right move. Let's face it, the geriatrics of the Democratic Party are no Riddler or Joker anyway. But Democrats have crossed the Rubicon, and a young, strong, and handsome American Caesar might be fully on the table.
The Caesar's on the other side of the Rubicon. He's not back in Rome. That's the whole point.
I love, in their mind, that phrase means like someone did something to Caesar and Caesar went, you crossed the Rubicon again. I'm going to become Caesar.
That was his red line.
He was like Obama in Syria.
If you like your republic, you can keep it. And this whole thing about imagine the fury he must feel.
What? Would they change the color of Sonic's arms?
Compare that to the anger you would feel if your dad was standing trial for paying money to someone to have sex with them other than your mother while she was pregnant with you.
Yeah. Specifically his mother.
Yeah.
Not stepmother, his mother.
Yeah. Yeah. God, imagine Barron's fury will be unleashed on this country. And just the whole thing about how he's so strong and handsome. I mean, once again, just absolutely dissing Erik and Don Jr., who even these people have to admit are both grotesques.
Yeah, they've already had kids. They've each got 3 kids. Barron's not in the line of succession. It doesn't make sense. Like if you were playing Crusader Kings, which they think they are in real life, it would be, is Don Jr. the oldest one? Or is it Erik?
Don Jr. is the eldest.
Yeah, Don Jr. and then Don Jr.'s oldest son. And then if all of them do, that would have to be Barron's fury.
That's what Barron has to do.
It would have to be the red wedding for everybody else.
Moving on from the Trump trial and our future American Caesar, do you guys remember Valentina Gomez, the "Don't Be Weak and Gay" lady?
No.
She's sort of like a MAGA Republican who's running for Congress, who put out a video where she is jogging through a neighborhood, and she's running for a House seat in Missouri, I believe. And she put out a video where she's running through a neighborhood in like a bulletproof vest, and it says something about like, "Don't be weak and gay," like MAGA, make America great. But just so like obviously that piqued my interest, and she's back at it this week with two unbelievably great campaign videos that I think we need to take some time to dive into. The first one, she shows off some bars. She's got bars, and she does a rap song in this campaign ad. But I want to warn you, the lyrics are pretty good, but there is something that occurs at the end of this video that is very frightening and out of left field. And like, we can describe it for our listeners, but it's a very jarring moment at the end of this video that comes out of nowhere. And like, I'm just going to prepare you for that before we share this clip.
The Second Amendment is there to always protect my first. A better rapper than Lupe, and I don't even have to curse. Let's keep the American dream alive and put an end to all lies. BLM raised billions, and what did they do for black lives? Politicians promise you the whole world, then they backslide. What happened to Hunter's laptop? You know I'm always strapped up. Gun rights are women's rights. Feminists been sold a lie. You can mess around and find out. Play stupid games, win a stupid prize. God bless the whole USA, even the ones who hate me. I'm still fighting for you today, and no super PAC paid me.
America first, the people are hurt.
Oh, cool. It's a guy in a cat turd beanie.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, look at this guy in the car. The dude who comes out at the end of this video singing the chorus is like the Winky's Diner moment in Mulholland Drive. I don't know how to describe this guy. Yeah, he's got a guy wearing a cat turd beanie. Who, I don't know, like Felix, how would you describe what this guy looks like?
I was going to say, like, this is sort of the worst thing about conservatives in America now is that this type of guy is now a Republican. This is the type of guy who, like, before Trump, they would corner you. They would tell you, no matter where you were, you could be at your own trial for abduction, and they would find you, and they would tell you about MF Doom.
Yeah,
They'd be like,
just
"He wears
very
a
annoying,
mask."
insistent guys.
Yeah.
Who, if people get sick of them, they're like, everyone in the room is an asshole except me, and they storm out.
This type of like aspiring backpack rapper, those guys have become Republicans. And this guy he's among the worst looking of those guys I've ever seen. He has a very visibly annoying presence. He looks like he has a very like earthy breath. Not just bad breath, but like sort of the breath of someone who eats only bread that has no type of preservatives in it.
Only ancient grains.
Yeah.
He's the guy in front of you at Dead & Company.
Yeah.
That's that guy.
That is what Trump should be on trial for, is like politically activating those guys.
Yeah, that and COVID. Being able to say fuck you to the mask people and fuck you to the vaccine, that activated a lot of those people. A lot of just dickheads who like getting kicked out of places. getting kicked out of the gas station for knocking shit over with their big ass backpack. Like those guys, they just jumped on the chance to be like, fuck you, no, I won't wear my mask. Fuck you. And now they're gonna be on that shit for the rest of their life. And before that, they probably voted for Obama.
Yeah. No, these guys are 100% Obama to Trump voters.
But another element to this video is that, like, okay, in the first video she was running and like showing off her cardio, and in this video she's like doing pull-ups on, I don't know, giant chains or something like that. But this is something we've talked about before, the sort of the workout habits of these kind of feral MAGA women like Marjorie Taylor Greene, where they're always like jumping on boxes and doing the most insane pull-ups imaginable, where like you throw your shoulders out. What do you think? What do you think the deal is with that? Where comes this zest for working out in stupid and insane ways?
Well, I mean, like, it's with Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's CrossFit. You know, that's one type of stupid injury-inducing workout. This lady, she does a lot of like they're the types of workouts that you could sell to the dumbest MMA fighters, where it's like, okay, you're gonna run on a treadmill but you're going to do it while field stripping an AK-47 and holding a kettlebell above your head. All the stuff that has caused like huge UFC events to be called off due to ACL injuries. This woman's doing those.
All right, there's a second campaign video this week that I thought was even better. This one is in reference to now listeners, just be aware that in this video she is standing in front of what I believe is the global headquarters of the Purina pet food company. Don't ask me why, but here's the video.
Go woke, go broke. This company tried to keep me quiet for speaking up against the pornographic material in our children's libraries. And today,
Libraries?
I fire them. No amount of money, stock, or bullying will make me compromise my values. So I will never support a company that wants to empower and protect pedophiles and groomers in our schools and libraries. So feed your dog something that is now weak and gay. This is good versus evil.
Rest.
I love her music choice. Like her music choice is very like pediatrician's waiting room. Every video she has where it's like, she's in front of like a pride parade and she's like, all of these people are trying to molest your kid. Then welcome to my house.
It's very weird because she has the accent, but it's also like, it's so stripped of anything ethnic. Like even her beat, I noticed. The beat she was rapping over was so devoid of like any sort of reggaeton flavor.
I also like that she compared herself to Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, and even said she's better than him.
In the Purina dog food video, though, I mean, I have no fucking clue what she's talking about. Purina is evil. It's feeding
some
children
gay guys
to your
came in the
dogs.
dog food. And everyone's mad.
But I mean, come on. I know I'm not exactly the best representation or the best representative for correctly pronouncing words, but it is really funny that she says libraries twice.
Well, this is the thing that I think is like ultimately dooms the modern conservative movement. You have to follow so much product news. Like I saw that Libs of TikTok lady, she was getting mad over something that like Fritos Spain was doing. Like Fritos Spain had like a trans woman.
They've divested from
and she
Israel.
was like, I'm never buying Fritos in Spain or Portugal again. It's like, how do you know about this?
They're not selling Jamon Iberica flavored chips in the West Bank anymore.
Yeah, it's like, how are you aware of this?
They're chasing that high from the Bud Light thing.
Yeah.
When they got the Bud Light thing taken down, that was the greatest moment in all of their lives. And they're chasing that. They're chasing that high. They're scraping the bag.
Yeah. The tone of this woman's videos are so weird, specifically because of that, like, I don't know how to describe it, like CW show music.
Yeah, it's very like infomercial-y. It's just so generic. It doesn't have any of like the weird particular idiosyncrasies that some of the conservative stuff has.
You know what it is? It's like the music that the most murderous nurse in your unit makes TikToks to.
Yeah, that woman in the UK who killed all the babies.
Yeah,
she's guilty, by the way.
Stuff.
She's bumping that shit. Yeah, she's absolutely guilty.
I still think she should be free, though. Man, that was funny. I loved all the British people getting angry when people question their legal system. I don't know. This country
at a New Yorker article, like it had any sort of legal standing or anything.
I know this country isn't. Our justice system leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, look, they just convicted Donald Trump, but it is funny to see British people get so fucking tilted about putting a woman in jail for reading her diary or something like that. I don't know. She's probably guilty, though. Someone killed those babies.
Best case scenario, she was a horrible nurse. She was really bad at her job. So,
the other thing from the dog food video is I really love when she says, "I have fired Purina." From what? Is this just the new right wing of saying a boycott? Like I'm firing I'm firing Bud Light. I'm firing Bud Light from my personal beer council.
It's an Apprentice throwback, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't hear that too much, though.
Purina dog food, you are for pedophiles, and you are fired.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
All right. Moving on. The article I want to talk about today, Alex, you mentioned earlier people who imagine that they're playing Crusader Kings, but in real life, This article concerns a group chat featuring many prominent individuals who definitely meet that description. This is in the New Republic, off leash inside the secret global far right group chat. And I love all these stories about group chats. There was the one about how Eric Adams was in a group chat with all these APAC, big APAC donors and, cops and stuff like that who are just like, please, get rid of this Colombia encampment. It is true. If you have an op, if you have ops, they are all in a group chat talking about you. But this one is about Erik Prince's group chat. And this is covered in the New Republic by Ken Silverstein. Like I said, when I go into this article, let me preface it by saying that everyone in this group chat believes that they are the defenders of democracy and that their opponents are uniquely bloodthirsty and prone to violence. Just keep that in mind when we discuss this article. But it begins a little bit, but I'm going to jump ahead. It says, Ken Silverstein says, I've been reading excerpts from a private WhatsApp group chat established last December by Erik Prince, the founder of the military contractor Blackwater and the younger brother of Betsy DeVos, the Secretary of Education during President Donald Trump's administration, who invited around 650 of his contacts in the United States and around the world to join. Prince, who has a long track record of financing conservative candidates and causes and extensive ties to right-wing regimes around the world, named the group, which currently has around 400 members, Off Leash, the same name as the new podcast he launched the month before. So already, first of all, 650 people is too many to be in a group chat, in my opinion. Most of them have got to be just lurking. And if they're wondering why this got leaked to the New Republic, that's probably why. You can start there. But also, I like naming your group chat after the podcast that you just launched as well. That's marketing. But going on, it says here, among the group's hottest topics, one, the Biden regime, which a consensus of off-leash participants who weighed in view as an ally of Islamic terrorists and other anti-American forces that needs to be crushed along with them and its partners in the deep state, such as former Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley, who deserves to burn in hell, Laura Logan shared with the group chat. They also are concerned with the shortcomings of democracy that invariably resulted from extending the franchise to ordinary citizens, who are easily manipulated by Marxists and populists. The West is at best a beautiful cemetery, lamented Sven von Storch, whose aristocratic German family fled the country after World War II to Chile, where their son was raised before returning to the land of his ancestors, where he married the granddaughter of the Third Reich's last de facto head of state, who was convicted at Nuremberg.
So that's what happened to Scott Storch's parents.
That seems like a pretty good deal. Like, what are you complaining about?
Coming on, it says here, Israel-Palestine, a problem that Michael Udelson, Prince's business partner at Unplugged, which markets an allegedly super secure smartphone, said should be handled by napalming Hamas's tunnel network. I would burn all those bastards and have everything above ground, everything left of Gaza collapse into this fiery hell pit and burn, he wrote. They're also concerned with the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who Yoav Goldhorn, who was an Israeli intelligence officer until last year and now works for a Tel Aviv-based security contractor headed by former national security veterans, thinks should be dealt with as soon as possible to ensure they don't grow from an inconvenience to a festering mess that will eventually require an entire limb to be amputated. I think it's funny that this guy left his job right after the single worst breach of Israeli national security in the last 40 years.
So these are just like the NAFO people, right? These are just the right-wing version of that. They just say, someone should take care of the Houthis. Someone should go down there and take care of that. And someone should take care of Hamas, too. In Iran, someone should take care of that. Why don't we go down there and fix it? What are you guys doing? You're just in your... So they're just neocons, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Yeah, so probably if you post some Groiper shit in there, you'll get banned.
Well, I mean, this is the interesting thing is that they all conceive of themselves as based paleo conservatives, but the number one issue in this chat is supporting Israel and killing every Palestinian.
Yeah, it's people don't fall for that. The younger far right guys, they don't fall for that.
And then also another topic of concern in the chat is most of all Iran, which participants agreed, with a few exceptions, also needed to be wiped out. Saghar Erika Kazrai, a former staffer for Republican Representative Trent Franks when he served on the House Armed Services Committee, and whom, according to her LinkedIn profile, she advised on Middle East issues, urged that the Islamic Republic's clerical leaders be targeted by weaponized drones that take them out like flies. Yeah, Alex, you're right. This is just right-wing NAFO. Because it's just they're just like,
it's just fantasy. Someone should do it.
Why don't we use weaponized drones to take out the leaders of the Islamic Republic like flies? Why hasn't anyone done that so far?
Why don't we just make a list of all the bad guys in the world and kill them all with guns? It
That's
would be
literally
so
where this
easy.
That's where this chat
And
does
also,
go.
it's like, why can't Erik Prince do that? He's like a
You think he'd be
paramilitary head of like, he's a strong man basically who can go around the world and kill whoever he wants with impunity. Like,
I mean, I think
why can't he do it?
He's too busy promoting his podcast Off Leash to a group of his 700 closest friends.
He's just a media figure.
What a downfall. It's like you're supposed to kill people. And now you're just another guy with a podcast.
You're on leash.
Yeah.
You're on the leash. You're following the leash law.
It says here, not all of the group's members are conspiracy theorists in the mold of Logan, the former CBS correspondent. I know many of the people who are in roughly the same political ballpark as the average off-leash participant, including some of the group chat's members who are razor sharp, even if I strongly disagree with a lot of their opinions. I don't know Prince other than having been in the same room with him on a few occasions, but we have mutual acquaintances who say he's not a one-dimensional evil mercenary as typically portrayed, but brilliant and funny, and over drinks greatly prefers to discuss business and history rather than expound on the latest developments in right-wing political circles. That's good to know.
Yeah, he's a multidimensional evil person.
He's not an actual cartoon villain. He's not just like rubbing his hands together like, "Ooh, I want blood." Like that's not his dinner conversation.
This guy, you may think he's bad because of all the massacres in Iraq, but he likes a cocktail. Really? That's amazing.
And I gotta say, Ken Silverstein does name a lot of the people in this group chat, but he doesn't name any of the people that he considers himself friends with who are razor sharp and smart, which I think is a little bit of an oversight on his behalf. But it says, going on to the article, it says, they will collectively become wealthier and more influential if Trump wins the November election. That's especially true of the Americans in the group, but the same holds for the international figures of because the global right will become immensely more powerful and emboldened if the former president returns to the White House. That prospect is a source of great hope to off-leash participants. Trump, Orban, Millet, it's happening, former Blackwater executive John Ladelfa posted to the group during a trip to Argentina on December 4th, 2 days after Prince created it. Around the globe, we are the sensible, the rational, the majority. Don't give in to fear. We will defeat the Marxists. He says his hopes were shared by many other off-leash participants, among them Horatiu Portra, a Romanian mercenary who has recently been operating in the mineral-rich, conflict-plagued Democratic Republic of Congo. The globalists want to spark control for the entire planet, and the only chance to get rid of them is a spark from a great power, the USA, Potra wrote. Surely there will be a strong man like Erik who will initiate it. Otherwise, there's no chance of regaining our freedom. If this spark is started,
you're Romanian.
You've never had freedom. You don't know what that is.
Your country's Air Force runs on burning hay. You have like a pterodactyl. That's your country's Air Force.
You're famous for Dracula.
But no, when he says here, like, the globalists want control of the entire planet, you're a fucking mercenary that secures mineral rights in Africa, in the Congo for foreign companies. If that isn't globalist seeking control of the earth, I don't know what the fuck is.
Like, who is actually against globalism? Nobody actually wants that.
Yeah, no,
nobody with any money or power or connections. Like, there might be someone saying, like, we should just close all the borders to everybody, like capital and labor. Just only America. Fuck the rest of the world, because it would instantly collapse the economy.
Yeah, it's exactly like free speech. How like no one is actually a free speech absolutist. There's no one in the modern Republican Party who's like Henry Cabot Lodge Sr. and like wants total isolationism. That would mean that like you can no longer get like MEK to pay for your legal fees.
It says here, we're waiting for the signal, the spark. Once again, more tortured Batman analogies from these idiots. About 3/4 of the people Prince invited to the group chat are from the U.S. or live here. The largest overseas blocks are from Israel, 32 members, the United Arab Emirates, 20 members, and the United Kingdom, 20. There are smaller contingents, sometimes a single person from 33 other countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, et cetera, et cetera. Going on here, it says, prominent figures in the off-leash crew are well known for their paleo-conservative political views, which is like, their paleo-conservative political views are, we need to attack Iran right now.
Yeah, we
on
need to
behalf of
invade the rest of
Israel.
the world and spread democracy. We need big government, lots of spending.
It isn't, Alex, it isn't saying the way neoconservatism has either just become the MSNBC house style or has just been completely rebranded as paleo conservatism.
Yeah, it's not cool anymore.
It's all just conservatism. Like, it's all the same shit.
Yeah, like the old branding of it, it was like Jewish magazine editors who used to be Trotskyists, and that's not cool.
Until they were mugged by reality.
Yeah, that's not cool. So it's they have to pretend to be like Pat Buchanan. But of course, nobody is, because that would mean saying anti-Semitic stuff all the time, and no one actually wants to do that.
Yeah, because it's exactly the same people working for these publications. Like, everyone who's like a base Trump guy now, like, had a job in the Bush administration. They're the exact same people. There was no transformation.
You know what they say? A paleo conservative is just a neoconservative who's been mugged by a Jewish person.
Richard Hanania, who's supposed to be like a based race realist, is like, every day on Twitter is like, everyone should learn from Jewish people how to conduct orchestras. We need a million Israels. And it's like, wow, this is really bold, Richard.
Oh, thanks, Maestro.
That stuff is very funny. I think it kicked off because they let Nick Fuentes back on Twitter, which before I would have said they shouldn't do it, but after they let him back on, it puts all those guys in such a weird place where they have to be like, actually, Jews are based. Like, Mike Cernovich made a whole thread of like all the most based white nationalist Jewish accounts, like the trad based realist Europa. He's a Jewish guy and he's based. It's like, you have to do that shit.
I did love seeing Elon Musk, like, when he let Nick Fuentes back on, desperately try to coach him into just being like, I think you need to be more positive. I think you should share some things about other than your hatred for Jews and minorities.
Yeah, like, who does he think he was talking to?
Like, why is he being let again? Like, this is why he wants him back on the site, but he just wants him to be able to like launder the same stuff, but in the way Elon Musk does but just by replying interesting to like FBI crime stats. Going on here, it says, participants chirpily discussed the desirability of clamping down on democracy to deal with their enemies at home, and regime change, bombings, assassinations, and covert action to take care of those abroad. The group's overall bloodlust periodically proved to be too much for a few more judicious individual members, who in almost any other setting would be considered ultra-conservatives, but in the context of off-leash sounded like hippie peaceniks. One of the dissidents, a National Rifle Association firearms instructor who runs a weapons company, joked that he was worried about an unsupervised subgroup of especially enthusiastic military adventurers that formed to discuss topics too hot for WhatsApp, saying, I imagine their to-be-bombed list is over 49 countries and growing. Many other off-leash participants have also stated that they don't view the group chat as merely a forum to exchange ideas, but want it to become a vehicle to put their theories into action. If we band together, we can damage the other side like no one has ever seen before, exclaimed Jeff Sloat, who worked with a U.S. Army PSYOPs unit in Central America during the Reagan era. Felix, to your point about like just the absolute degeneration of like these type of people. This was a guy who was doing genocide in Central America in the 80s, and now he's on a group chat begging people to like take his ideas seriously and put them into action.
You were there. You were one of those.
Did it.
Like, you were in a military, and now you're back on the internet with the rest of us, being like, "Wouldn't it be cool if we all got guns together?" Like, how do you not know? That's so weird. And also, firearms instructors. Those guys are pussies. Those are the guys that tell you don't put your finger on the trigger.
Yeah, they're the ones who want to put rules. Yeah.
They take all the fun out of it.
Make sure there's not one in the chamber before you start cleaning your gun.
Yeah, don't let your kid play with it. Just killjoys.
They take away the entire point of having a gun, which is you make the rules.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm the boss now. I'm the president.
Going on here, it says, Udelson, who also reportedly partnered with Prince in an attempt to buy weapons for resale from Belarus dictator Alexander Lukashenko, whom the two men praised for bringing peace, stability, and prosperity to your country. Is Belarus a prosperous country? I mean, as compared to what?
I guess it's not currently in a war.
Yeah, that's good.
Kind of, sort of.
He says here, Udelson predicted the tunnel flooding proposal would be shot down by, quote, the Israeli left, a force he labeled the country's biggest enemy ahead of Hamas and Iran, over concerns about the environmental impact in Gaza. Who gives a shit about that? Udelson posted to the group. If it was up to me, I would flood them with napalm. I would burn all those bastards and have everything above ground, everything left of Gaza collapse. I already read that. Collapse into a fiery pit and burn. I love, once again, he's imagining Israeli environmentalists are stopping them from killing enough people in Gaza right now. I mean, what is the Israeli left, the environmental position is that they don't want to nuke Gaza because it would be bad for the environment that they want to live in.
I guess so. Like the people closest to Gaza, the people that got attacked,
Yeah.
like those were the people at that music festival. If you want to picture Israeli environmentalists, it's probably those people.
I mean, have you seen Gaza lately? There's litter everywhere.
It's true. No one picks it up.
Even that was deemed to be insufficiently hawkish for some of the off-leash participants. In a lengthy tirade on February 14th, Tzivi Lev, who formerly worked in Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said it was rare to see a people as twisted as Palestinians, whose culture worships death and bloodshed. The only solution, he wrote, was to completely uproot the radical Islamic Palestinian nationalism, which was possible to do based on the historical precedent of Japan, which went from being nuked twice to one of the world's strongest economies in 2 decades.
We just did an episode about this.
Yeah, we did. But listen to the Movie Mindset episode. About
Well, the problem is Gaza's kind of one city.
Yeah.
Yeah, Japan's an entire country.
They had a lot of cities, and they didn't touch Tokyo or Osaka or
something
any
tells
of
me
those.
we're not. Something tells me we're not going to put the
manufacturing
same
hubs.
Something tells me we're not going to invest in the same way in Gaza as we did in West Germany and Japan after World War II. So
Yeah, there's no reason to. Well, unless China's there, but it's not like China's really interacting over there.
But like, I know I said this to preface this article, but it is really funny to hear from people who are talking about how they've never seen a culture as twisted as Palestinians because they worship death and bloodshed. This whole group chat is as you said, these guys just venting their fantasies about how they want to kill half of the world for existing. Continuing on, it says here, Iran, off-leash's public enemy number 1. It was hard to keep track of all the wars, invasions, covert operations, coups, and assassinations off-leash members favored. One regime right for a bit of a good old-fashioned Western intervention was Africa, which described as a pot about to boil over by Emma Priestley, who posts as customer in the group chat and is the CEO of Goldstone Resources Limited in Jersey, the English Channel island that is one of the world's most popular offshore secrecy havens. China would have to be taken down a peg as well, particularly as Biden wasn't going to stop the country from doing a damn thing. And indeed, he would pave the way for it to do whatever they want to accomplish, posted Randy Couture, the former UFC heavyweight
Randy
champion.
Couture's in here?
Yes, Randy
Oh my
Couture.
God.
And he's concerned
Oh
that
my
Biden is
God.
letting China do things that they want to do, like build cars.
Letting them.
Letting them. He's just letting them exist.
Well, Randy Couture, what would you do? Push them up against the fence for 25 minutes?
Are these people actually that stupid? These people who run these companies, like these international mercenary firms, are they actually stupid enough to think that we could take down China?
Well, this
That we
is
can make
Randy
them no longer a
Couture.
superpower?
Randy Couture runs a middling MMA gym and sells.
Well, not him.
He sells T-shirts under the branding of Extreme Couture. He's the smartest guy in there.
But it says the number 1 target on off-leash's list by orders of magnitude was Iran. Follow the source of evil, wrote Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke, who served as Interior Secretary under Trump. Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, Iran is the center of gravity. Wasn't Ryan Zinke the guy that like got drummed out of the Department of the Interior for like selling fake Navy SEAL challenge coins or some bullshit like that?
Yes.
Yeah, or he
Yeah.
borrowed a limo too long to get a haircut or something.
Yeah. He
But
did,
Zinke
yeah, he
is
did
something
like,
funny.
he did like extremely petty embezzlement and larceny as like a cat. You can take the guy out of the Navy SEALs, but you can't take the Navy SEALs out of the guy.
Yeah.
Like he was, if his imagination was big enough, he had the opportunity to make like hundreds of millions of dollars in there, but he was like, ooh, a paperweight.
Yeah, he
Just gonna
charged,
put
he
this
charged
under
the
my
government for a
jacket.
flight to Vegas so he
Yeah.
could speak in front of the Vegas Golden Knights, the hockey team.
Hockey team. Oh my God. It's just your Yemen.
Another of these trips was the use of a park police helicopter to have a horseback ride with Vice President Mike Pence. Oh, that's cool. I think he's cool.
But like, this is the guy that thinks he's going to take down the Islamic Republic. A dude who couldn't even take down the U.S. government for a helicopter ride. And it says here, the Yemen's Houthi rebels were most immediately in the group's crosshairs due to their attempts to halt arms shipments to Israel. Finishing them off would be a cakewalk, but time was of the essence as the Houthis were relatively limited in strength at the moment, but could become a major problem if swift action wasn't taken, wrote Yoav Goldhorn, a former Israeli intelligence operative. I mean, like, if this is the quality of the global right-wing counter-revolution, I really got to say, I know it's frightening that there are so many Nazis and with this much time and money on their hands to be venting in a group chat. But like, if this is the quality of intelligence and ruthlessness among these people, like, I got to say, I'm not really all that disturbed because, like, look at what the Houthis are already doing. Too late. Weren't swift enough. They are a major regional power.
You are not getting them out of those mountains. It would be so hard to get them out of there.
I love this because like all their advice for the Houthis is like stuff that Saudi Arabia already tried with like
we got to get serious.
American weapons and planes and everything. Like some of you guys helped give them those weapons. Some of you guys in that fucking group chat, and Saudi Arabia is now like they're terrified of any further conflict with them. I don't think it works, guys.
One of the people was sharing their insight into to Iran and says here, this is Khazrai. Says, I assure you, the Iranian people want nothing more than to be free of the bloodthirsty mullahs. Khazrai.
Oh my God, they'll greet us as January 27th. Nothing ever fucking changes.
And added with equal certainty that younger Iranians were pro-Israel and pro-America, and that millions in the country felt a deep sense of nostalgia for the former royal dynasty. If Reza Pahlavi received...
How old do you think people... Like, this 1979, that was, what, 45 years ago?
They would have half of Iran's population wasn't even alive then.
Like, even if you were born then, you wouldn't remember it. Like, even... like. You would have to be like a baby boomer to remember the pre-Islamic Revolution Iran, like what it was like.
The youngest you could be would be like 53 years old. That way you were in like first grade when the Shah was in charge.
It says here, but millions in the country felt a deep sense of nostalgia for the former royal dynasty. If Reza Pahlavi received strong international support, he would merely be a mouthpiece to be handled by a team of good advisors. Khazrai stated, the internal opposition would be much more inclined to rise up and we would see far more defectors. Then it says, for his part, Reza Pahlavi hasn't stepped foot in Iran for 45 years and lives in a lavish estate in the Washington suburbs, said in an interview last year he wasn't sure he wanted to have an official role in the government if the current one was overthrown. Going on here, it says, Nathan Jacobson, a 69-year-old Canadian-Israeli businessman who told the New Republic he is a longtime friend of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and fought with the IDF as a young man, had a more ambitious proposal. In order to topple the Islamic regime, he said blithely, we need to hit Iran's nuclear facilities, ports, where the mullahs reside, IRGC headquarters and bases, and oil industry production facilities, which would shut down the country's economy for months.
The mullahs live in the ports? What are you talking about? I'm the evil Islamic mullah of Iran. I love living in a missile silo where I cast my spells.
They don't have that many ports.
What are you talking about?
It says, the calls for carnage elicited pushback from two off-leash members. The problem is, while doing nothing could empower them, bombing them might empower them more, warned Mark Farage, who owns a firearms and ammunition manufacturer in Virginia, and made the joke about the unsupervised subgroup's ever-growing list of countries they wanted to be targeted for airstrikes. I don't think we have successfully bombed anyone into an ally since World War II. Maybe we should consider more tools than just a hammer. Huge mistake to attack Iran directly, concurred Matt Haidt, a special forces veteran who deployed to Africa, South America, and Asia, including a 2007 stint in Iraq's Anbar province. We would be inviting 10-7 here. Jacobson was infuriated by the criticism of his blueprint for war. And like his blueprint for war, like this has been the blueprint for war with Iran for the last 20, 30, 40 years.
It's the same idea.
It's the same exact idea. It's just like,
what if we invaded Iran?
Yeah.
What if we
someone's
did it?
someone's stealing my idea to strike their nuclear facilities.
I like the special forces guy being like, don't hit him directly. That doesn't work. let's do what does work, which is sort of like going at their proxies in Syria and Iraq, which we have not done at all, ever.
Yeah, maybe starting a war next door.
Yeah. Maybe so. Where is Saddam?
Funding a
these
war
days?
between them and one of their neighbors for about 10 years.
Is Saddam available?
This chat is filled with people who like they're all suggesting things that they literally did to no effect.
Yeah, we're
Be like, why don't we try this?
Yeah,
Let's try it again. We have better guns now, don't we? And computers and shit. Why don't we try the Bay of Pigs?
Crypto
Let's just fucking try it again with the same plan. Maybe it'll work.
Try it again with the same. Try it again with the same veterans, the ones who are still alive. Send them back.
Yeah, the same guys. Yeah, like Cotton Hill. when they go down there.
Yeah, he goes here. So Jacobson was infuriated by the criticism of his blueprint for war. We don't want them as an ally, he said in a comment directed at Farage. Let them spend their time stoned on cot and screwing their sheep. He was even more contemptuous of Haidt's opinions. You remind me of the Jews in Germany in the 30s that thought that by being quiet that the problem would go away, he sneered. We have no choice but to hit them hard and kill these cells if they raise their ugly heads. Why are you taking a coward Why are you taking a coward's standpoint? Coward standpoint is such a funny turn of phrase.
Who was in Germany? What Jewish person was like in Germany and was like, all right, if we're really quiet, they won't notice. They can only see us if we move.
Turn off the light. Turn off the light, Anne Frank.
It was the guy who ran that ghetto in Poland. Not Warsaw, the other one. The other, like the second biggest one. That was the only guy who like genuinely thought, like, if we just cooperate, they'll just let all of this go. Trust me.
But this is really good. He says here, so why are you taking the coward standpoint? So are you going to waddle your fat ass over there and put some skin in the game, or are you content to put others at risk, retorted Haidt. Unlike you, I've had skin in the game for years, said Jacobson, who served in the IDF in the 70s. What have you done?
In the 70s?
In the 70s! He's still got skin in the game. He's still fighting. He's still out there on the front lines. He served in the IDF. And like, you know, no. I mean, like, not to give undue credit to the Special Forces veteran, but I'd say he has got a lot more relevant military experience in the recent past, and also probably a lot more combat experience than this shithead did in his service. I don't know, sharpening pencils in the 1970s.
Yeah, the shit Israel could get away with it in the 70s, they can't get away with now. They couldn't do the 6-Day War. They couldn't attack Egypt.
It says here, I served in the IDF in the 70s. What have you done? Retired SEAL, senior chief with a Bronze Star with 5 shot back Haidt. Bronze Stars are awarded for heroism in a combat zone and are not uncommon, but a Bronze Star with a V for, it's a V for valor, not a 5 for a Roman numeral, are relatively rare. Those in off-leash's overwhelmingly dominant hardline faction were having none of the namby-pamby defeatism from Haidt and Farage. Bomb the hell out of them, Kazaruni insisted. Mess with the U.S. and we will eat your shit. We, the United States of America, is still the strongest country in the world. We will eat your shit.
Eat your shit. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
Yeah.
That is a good way to describe Operation Prosperity Guardian.
Yeah.
We will eat your shit.
We're going to come over there and we are going to suck the poop out of your asshole and then die.
We're going to choke on your shit.
Yeah. Hey, idiot, we're going to suck your dick while you're sleeping.
You're going to use our faces as a chair.
America is still the most powerful country, and if you don't like it, you can piss in our mouths.
Once you get done using my mustache as a washcloth, you're going to see why we don't have health care.
Going on here, it says, former President Trump's campaign to return to the White House posed an even graver and more imminent threat to American democracy. It wasn't Trump per se or his efforts to reverse the results of the 2020 presidential election that troubled the group, needless to say. The danger was that following his landslide victory this November, which was a foregone conclusion, the deep state would steal it again, just as it had 4 years ago, Udelson posted. I just hope and pray they will not JFK Trump before the elections, physically or with some of their other methods.
What, like
JFK is only compromised by other methods. Yeah,
like cyberbullying him until he starts cutting,
gang stalking, dogpiling,
sea lining. Y'all, they're sea lining the president.
Yeah, gaslighting him.
Despite such trepidations, Congressman Zinke spoke for the group when he wrote, "There is only one path forward: elect Trump." It's Trump or revolution, Udelson chimed in from the chorus. You mean Trump and revolution, a right-leaning Canadian businessman shot back. The left is too violent to sit back and let Trump win again. It's just like, I would like...
You're Canadian!
It happened already. It happened already, and all there was that the woman saying no, and they took a picture of her, and that's all that happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would just like an ounce of self-awareness among today's Nazis. You know what I mean? It's just like, because like, it used to be that they would, exterminate their political enemies because they were weak and they had the strength to do so. But now they're like, we have to do it because the other side is just so violent. They're going to gang stalk us. We don't kill them all first. Going on here, it says, the view that Trump represented a unique hope was shared by group chat members outside the U.S. He is the best thing. Even in Africa, offered NJ Ayuk, a native of Cameroon who currently lives in Johannesburg, where he founded a law firm that assists clients with interests in the oil and gas sector. Trump all the way, 100 emoji. I live in darkest West Africa, posted Emma Priestley of Goldstone Resources Limited. The overall situation was such an irredeemable mess. Trump himself might not be able to save this shithole of a continent.
Even Trump, even Donald Trump couldn't single-handedly fix the situation in the Congo. That's crazy. Well, if he can't do it, I don't know if anyone can. A country he's never been to and doesn't know the name of.
Darkest West Africa.
Darkest. I can't believe people still talk like that. Darkest West Africa.
Yeah, for my company, Resource Extraction Limited, Child Labor LLC.
This is really someone who's creating their own problems. I went to West Africa, and wouldn't you believe it? It's infested with fucking black people.
He's like, yeah, this country I live in is so fucking poor and fucked up as I like strip mine it of cobalt. It says here, they only give us lectures and talk about renewables, said Ayuk. These latte liberators are actually the problem. That was a minor offense among the long litany of crimes off-leash participants laid at Biden's door. Looks like the globalists are engaging in this mass illegal immigration, Udelson, citing an article at Zero Hedge, wrote in one post. Surely with tremendous assistance from the Biden regime. But Biden was merely a figurehead controlled by elements that are actually ruling the deep state, he continued. The real problem was that Democrats had been in cahoots with the Muslim Brotherhood and infiltrated by their proxies and agents, as well as Ayatollah sympathizers ever since President Bill Clinton's administration.
Forgot about the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah,
you don't hear about them
throwback.
too much anymore. It's Obama era shit, like when Mubarak took over.
It goes on to talk about how Laura Logan believes in Pizzagate, saying of it, holy guacamole, this is actually all true. But then, what then was to be done? The answer was clear to Freeman, a.k.a. Scotty F. in the group chat. Apply all tenets of warfare internally against the many enemies living among us. America is capable of being fully capable again. Do we have the will to levy the toll?
What?
So yeah, just apply all tenets of warfare internally against the many enemies living among us. So what is to be done is go to war against the United States of America.
So post?
Yeah,
I think they mean post.
Yeah, post.
Yeah.
10 tenets of posting, the art of posting.
That's always
telling other people to do violence for you.
That's always what they mean. We're gonna post harder than ever.
And we're going to post shit that's too edgy even for WhatsApp in our WhatsApp group. We're really going to go there. We're going to post
like
all
the old
dark
generation.
base thoughts. Yeah.
That's the old generation. That's the guys who are like 50 and they think they're edgy. And I think they should let the Groypers in there.
Yeah.
They should put them against each other because those guys, they don't have any time for like we got to support our Israeli brothers and sisters and all that shit. They'll just start doing the Jew count on everybody. And then suddenly those guys aren't so edgy anymore. It's not so edgy and far right when someone else is doing the Jew count on you.
And, again, like, they are just fantasizing about killing their domestic political enemies, but they're doing it in a closed group chat. They know that they don't have the
only in front of the news
this shit publicly. Yeah. It says here, Jesse Barnett, a retired Navy SEAL specializing in active shooter prep and crisis prevention, who ran the Indianapolis-based indoor shooting simulator Poseidon Experience. What is the Indianapolis-based indoor shooting simulator Poseidon Experience?
That guy prevents an active shooter every time he doesn't leave the house.
It's like the Poseidon Adventure, except you have a gun. Use this gun to flee a boat that's capsized. He says here, offered a harsh but necessary recipe. We need a Nuremberg-style cleanup of this global cabal, he proposed. Only through accountability can we cleanse our spirits. Once the cleansing was out of the way, security could be maintained by using technology to identify sociopaths and keep them in their place. I would say being a member of this group chat is like Exhibit A in the in this new sociopath registry. But there's
we
a
should
really
have some
funny
sort of global criminal court in Europe where we prosecute war criminals. Sounds great. Let's do it.
It goes on to talk about how the guy whose parents fled Germany for Chile after World War II says, the West no longer supports democracy and it's no longer a game. It's time to adapt strategies to reality and stop pretending we live in a free democracy in the West. Do you want to live in a free democracy anywhere? I mean, isn't this like sort of the opposite of what you actually claim to believe in? Like, how can your parents be like Nazi war criminals and you're fucking whining about how freedom of speech is being taken away in the West? You don't believe in any of that shit. Have some dignity.
Yeah. Does that work on anybody?
Yeah.
Does that work on anybody yet? Like, I don't know. It's like, it's into the era where it's all about getting books banned from libraries and just sending people bomb threats. Like, they don't really care about the demos.
Wait, there's one really funny part at the end here. Even more farcical was the manner in which group chat members portrayed themselves as the rightful guardians of democracy, even as they proposed employing military force against their unarmed domestic political opponents and rounding up members of the global cabal for a trial at a Nuremberg-style tribunal. Again,
who's going to round them up?
Yeah, like
what international organization is going to round them up?
And like, in these people's minds, the Nuremberg tribunals were bad. They were bad and unjust and evil for executing all those Nazis. So like now they want to do that. I don't know.
They're just like they're right on the cusp of that.
Yeah,
they're right on the cusp of that. Of like the Nazis were bad, but right up until the point Hitler killed himself, and then when we started working with them and we brought them over here, those guys were great. Those guys were awesome. But when we were fighting them, they were bad. I think that's their opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Werner von Braun, he's the man.
Hey, yeah. Dallas real estate developer Scott Hall informed the group he was moving his family to the UAE, which is ruled by an authoritarian monarchy, because freedom is real there.
You can't even drink.
It's
freedom to do what?
It's 140 degrees there.
I guess you can do whatever with your car, kind of. You can go out into the desert and flip it around. And
all right, here's the part I'm getting to. This is Barnett, who once worked for Blackwater, said participants in the group chat love the country and want good solutions, and that he was not an ideologue and favored checks and balances and transparency. A centrist who leans libertarian and a Barack Obama voter in 2008. Barnett said the 9/11 attacks 7 years earlier were 100% an inside job, and they woke me up and triggered the political evolution that led to his current conspiracy observationist perspective. Barnett said that he was a Trump fan in part because the establishment hates the former president, adding that the Russiagate scandal that led to his first impeachment, had been cooked up by Democrats as part of a politically motivated attack to drive him from office, an opinion I share. That's both Ken Silverstein and myself. But it says, when I told Barnett his remarks about the need for a new Nuremberg tribunal sounded like a call for an attack of the same type, but against enemies of the group chat, he said he didn't favor a politically driven kangaroo court, but envisioned a scrupulously fair judicial process that truly enables our country to move forward, which could be ensured by establishing panels with impartial experts such as journalist Matt Taibbi, psychologist and commentator Jordan Peterson, and others of similarly high integrity to help determine who should be prosecuted. And to that, I got to say, Jordan Peterson is not even an American citizen. How is he being put in charge of this tribunal to determine who is an enemy of the state?
It really is globalist.
That's what you want for your like Nuremberg style judge, someone who can be bought off with a handful of Klonopins.
Like they always blend that shit. Every single sentence is someone in Canada talking about like, we got to get Trump back. We got to get Trump back in, you guys. We got to do it. They live in a borderless world. These people, these mercenary guys, borders don't exist to them. It's all one country. It's all America. Iran is like a region of America that we need to pull into line.
That's all I have on the many enemies of the group chat.
Well, those guys are cool.
But yeah, they're pretty cool. But again, like I know this is blood curdling to hear about, like the genocidal fantasies of Erik Prince's friends. But I really have to underscore, I hope this article did a good job communicating how absolutely brain dead every one of these people is, and how absolutely past the sell by date of the actual war crimes they have done they are. So now they're just like, as you said, Alex, demanding that other people not in the group chat take up the cause and wave the bloody flag of rebellion against the Biden regime. They want 10 million Ashley Babbitts to do the work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like making your son do the football play that you were supposed to do in high school.
Yeah. That's always whenever they say this time the gloves are off, this time it's going to be different. What they mean is like, we're going to convince more like 83 IQ people to freak out in the building and get shot. And then all of us are going to apologize for it.
Yeah. And then we're going to say we're going to cover their legal bills and then not do it.
Yeah.
Because we're quietly just kind of like, well, he's going to say something stupid in court and it's not really worth the money. And
all these
everybody
people,
just kind of dissolves.
It always tries to be great. Like all these people, Trump very much included, folded on January 6th. Like, all they had to say to Trump was like, we're going to ban you. And he was like, oh, no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is wrong.
Like
they'll do it again.
Day of. That was so funny.
Yeah, he found it repulsive. All those broken windows, people shitting everywhere, people in that building without a suit on. It's disgusting.
I think ultimately, like, he really just doesn't. I mean, we've talked about before, like, there's nobody who has more contempt for the people who vote for him than Donald Trump. And I really think he did not like seeing how shoddily dressed and just what slobs all his supporters are. You're right. They stormed the Capitol and they weren't even wearing a tie. This guy slapped his own son for not wearing a suit to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean,
they should be dressed like him.
Yeah,
it should be like that video of Serge Gainsbourg with all the kids dressed like Serge Gainsbourg. Or they've all got the fake beard and stuff. That's what it should have been. They all should have been dressed like Trump with the Trump hair. And it would have been so visually powerful.
He starts crying like Serge Gainsbourg, and that
would have got to him.
He would have finally got to him.
I would have supported that.
Oh, that's it for this week. Nothing's gonna be better than that. We're signing off. We'll talk to you again on Thursday.